Welcome, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Thursday, the 23rd of February. Good to have you aboard. We got a lot going on here today. Of course, we are a Blue Wire podcast. However you're listening to the show, appreciate it. However you're listening, it's iTunes, Amazon, Google, iHeart. I can't list them all. Make sure you like, you rate, you comment, you do all that good stuff. You know the drill by now. You can always hit me up at ZASLOW Show on Twitter, at ZASLOWJ on Instagram, where I'm an influencer. But of course, at ZASLOW Show on Twitter. That's always the easiest way to get a hold of me. I'm in a good mood here today. We had a nice start to the morning. You know, the Ticket Ninja, I'm the Ticket Ninja. Everybody knows that. And Ticket Ninja struck out a couple of days ago trying to get, was it a couple of days ago or was it yesterday? It may have been yesterday. Struck out trying to get those Guns N' Roses tickets. Well, I didn't really strike out. Yeah, I didn't strike out at all, actually. Just the tickets are outrageous. We know the Hard Rock Live, great venue, super duper expensive. So chose not to get the tickets to Guns N' Roses. They got the regular general on sales tomorrow, so we'll check that out just to see if the prices are a little bit different. I am not hopeful, but we had some success today with getting tickets. I'll tell you about that in a second. Of course, everybody knows everything ZASLOW Show 2.0 is presented by Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. 800-747-FREE. That's 800-747-3733. If you're dealing with an injury, you were involved in an accident, car accident, motorcycle, even a boating accident, slip and fall. First you call 911, then you call Anidjar and Levine. You get an attorney on the phone immediately. You let them take care of the things that you don't need to be worrying about. They'll help get you whole. You worry about your health. Anidjar and Levine, Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE. That's 800-747-3733. All right, so had a good morning today as far as the ticket situation goes. You know, this was always an issue for me when I was doing middays, right? Where the show would start at 10 o'clock and all the concert tickets go on sale at 10 a.m. So I would find myself, I'm either starting the show and at the same time while I'm talking, I'm trying to do ticket situations, or I'll have Amber kind of take the reins at the beginning of the show and I'm not even telling her what I'm doing, but I'm only paying half attention and she'll get annoyed with me. And so that's always, the timing stunk. Well, now I could do what I want. I could tape the show before the tickets go on sale. I could tape the show after tickets go on sale. I could do it the way that I want. The Ticket Ninja is in full force now. So, what went on sale this morning, you're asking me? Well, for the pro wrestling fans, you know no sports host down here covers pro wrestling like your boy. Make sure you listen to It's Still Real to Me every weekend. That's the wrestling podcast. Me, my pal Joey Levine. It's Still Real to Me. We do a wrestling show every single week. Make sure you catch up on the Elimination Chamber recap show that we did a few days ago. But AEW, All Elite Dynamite, All Elite Wrestling was on last night. Dynamite was on last night. That was a very good show. All Elite Wrestling is making its return and debut to Sunrise. It's making its return to South Florida. Its debut in Sunrise FLA Live Arena. Tickets went on sale. The pre-sale went on sale this morning. If you're listening right now and you want that pre-sale code, hit me up at ZASLOW Show, and then I'll send you a direct message. This way, I don't want to just put it out there. I don't know if they get angry about that kind of stuff. But if you're looking for the pre-sale, you hit me up on Twitter at ZASLOW Show, and I'll set you up. But I went on this morning because obviously I get pre-sale passwords wherever I want. You can't keep me out. I laugh in the face of your pre-sales. And so I got great seats. We're not sitting right up front, but we're sitting pretty close up front, right there ringside. I'm going to take my son Jordan. He loves going to the wrestling with me still. My older one, not so much. So the Ticket Ninja did his job this morning. It wasn't even difficult. I got in, I got out, boom, there you have it. Speaking of my older son, good job yesterday by the Posnack boys varsity middle school basketball team. Finished their regular season yesterday with a 1-point victory. Great game. 1-point victory over Renaissance. And Posnack finishes their regular season 10-1. And now they have the playoffs next week. They're going to try and win a championship. My son, excellent job out of him playing that lockdown defense all game long. Really proud of him. really fun game yesterday. Poznak boys middle school varsity team. Excellent job there with a 1-point victory. So that's what we had going on yesterday. But now we can finally get back to the sports. It's been a rough week. All right, we're talking. Every day it's with the All-Star bullshit and the load management, and we got a little bit more of that today. And hopefully, then we can put a bow on the All-Star nonsense because the NBA is back tonight. Finally, the Heat are not back until tomorrow. I would expect we're going to see the debut of Kevin Love. You heard Jose Banera, La Voz, Spanish radio voice of the Miami Heat, on with us yesterday, saying the team is back practicing today, Thursday. Kevin Love's been in the gym there, working out with his new trainers, coaching staff, maybe some players getting in there early as well. I don't know what's going on there, but I would expect Kevin Love to be active and ready to go tomorrow. Kevin Love, though, he talked yesterday. He did a media call, I believe, a conference call, and he doesn't care about starting. Now, like I said, I expect Caleb Martin to still start these next few games, but I would then go with Love. We've been searching all year, right? And Kevin Love made this point where starting, it doesn't matter. Kevin Love, I think, was a 6th Man of the Year candidate only a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. He's not very far removed from still being a big-time scorer, Kevin Love. But he spoke about not caring about starting. That doesn't matter. I mean, everybody knows finishing is so much more important. Excuse me. But as long as you get the minutes. And you know that he came to Miami with the promise that he's going to get a ton of minutes. Otherwise, he wouldn't come. Said his two choices were Miami and Philadelphia, but it was really always Miami. And yeah, that he doesn't care about starting. I would say, though, in the next couple games, you get him there in that starting lineup. We've been talking about this all year, right? Needing to find a big man to put next to Bam. You know that's a big deal. Like, they're already doing the interactions with each other on social media. Bam tweeted to Kevin Love, better make your fucking shots. And Kevin Love tweeted back, better create some fucking space. So those two are very excited clearly to play together. And if we've been talking about this all year, finding a 4 to put next to Bam, finding a guy who could space the floor, Bam has been this good without that guy. Now, what we could wind up seeing out of Bam, I mean, I don't know if there's another level. He's been so fantastic. He looks like Kevin Garnett out there to me. I don't know if there's another level for Bam, but I wouldn't waste any time here. If you want to keep going with Caleb Martin the next couple of games, fine. But I would get Love out there with Bam. Let's get after it. And I don't think that you're going to have an issue as far as Caleb Martin goes. Caleb Martin, he signed a 3-year deal with the Heat. It's not like, it'd be one thing if he was a free agent, if he was going to be a free agent after this year, and it's like now he's losing his starting job. You could understand that. Caleb Martin signed a 3-year deal at the beginning of this year with the Heat. So I don't think that's an issue. There's no reason to believe Caleb Martin's not a great teammate. And I would, I think it's not like you would not be a starter anymore if you're Caleb Martin for some bum. You're talking about a guy in Kevin Love who's a borderline Hall of Famer. All right. So you want to go the next couple of games still with Caleb Martin there? Fine. But we've been talking about this all year. They found the guy that they think is going to help and be a perfect fit next to Bam. I agree. I was saying it from the get-go once the Kevin Love buyout talk started. He'll play tomorrow off the bench. He'll play a lot with Bam. And then I think you get Love in that starting lineup. I really do. Otherwise, as far as the NBA goes tonight, let's see what we got that series. You got pretty much a full... It feels like everyone's playing but the Heat. Let's see what games here stand out to us. You got Denver at Cleveland. Boston at... That's a great game. Boston at Indiana, whatever. Memphis at Philadelphia. That's TNT. So TNT Thursday night, 7:30. Memphis at Philadelphia. That's a very good game. The second half of the TNT doubleheader, Golden State at the Los Angeles Lakers. So you know those two games are going to get a ton of attention. Those are really the marquee games tonight. Golden State and the Lakers this evening. LeBron, the most important 23 games in the regular season of his career. You look at the standings, and you say, that, first of all, like I said yesterday, you've never seen a team in 13th place talked about more than the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers are 3 games back in the loss column of number 10 to get to the play-in. But you could also say, hey, they're also 3 games back in the loss column of number 6, Dallas, where you get right into the playoffs instead of the play-in. Here's the thing, though. Not only do the Lakers have 2 teams in front of them, Portland and Utah, before they even get to number 10. So they're 3 games back at number 10, but there's also 2 other teams in front of them. So you could really say, hey, there's 4 teams fighting for that number 10 spot. Oklahoma City, who currently occupies it, and then you have Utah, who's 2 back, Portland, who's 1 back, and the Lakers, who are 3 back. So you have 4 teams fighting for 1 spot. But hey, the Lakers are only 3 back of number 6. They've been 3 back of number 6 all year. I mean, seriously. They've been 3 games back of number 6 all season long. And here we are with, what are we talking? How many games left? 23 games left for the Lakers. So anyway, that's going to get a lot of attention tonight. Golden State and the Lakers. The first game, Memphis and Philadelphia. And Philadelphia sits there, number 3 in the East. They're well ahead of Miami. I mean, really the only place that Miami realistically can catch. I mean, they're 4 games back of Cleveland. You got a couple games against the Cavs coming up. I don't really see number 4 being attainable. I think the 5 spot's attainable. Brooklyn, the Heat are 3 games back of Brooklyn, and they're even in the loss column with the Knicks. I think the Heat, it was a major missed opportunity when they lost at Brooklyn. Everybody knows that. But I think Brooklyn's not going to fall out of the playoff picture altogether. They're just too many games over. They're 10 games over right now. But I do think Miami will jump Brooklyn. And obviously you got 2 or 3 games left against New York. So I think the Heat will jump New York as well. I think the Heat can finish 5th. It would set up for a first-round matchup against likely Cleveland. And that's a winnable first-round matchup. I think that's got to be the goal here for Miami over the final 23 games. Secure your rotation going into the playoffs. Kevin Love, how does he fit? Who's he going to play next to? How many minutes is he going to get? Who's the starting guard? I think it should be Gabe Vincent. It's probably going to be Kyle Lowry. And then it's working Kyle Lowry back, how many minutes he needs. That's a disaster situation because nobody wants Lowry around anymore. And the Heat fan, they're going to be pissed off when he's back in the starting lineup. I fully expect Lowry back in the starting lineup. I would not put him back in the starting lineup. But these are the things that you're going to have to figure out. Does Jimmy, do we start to see some of playoff Jimmy? Jimmy is one of the all-time great playoff performers. One of the all-time great Miami Heat playoff performers. But the Heat may need a little bit of that right now in the final 23 games if they want to jump all the way up to number 5. So do we start to see some of that? Or does Jimmy still kind of take a back seat to Bam, considering what Bam has been able to do over the last really 2 months? And Jimmy still conserves his energy, saves himself for the postseason. And then you got Tyler Hero, Victor Oladipo. Oladipo, is he back and ready to go tomorrow night? Do we start to see again the Victor Oladipo that we did for those stretch of games, playing great defense and able to get to the basket? Tyler Hero, does he regain his form? Does he regain his shot? He was out for a few games. He comes back super rusty. We haven't really seen that version of Tyler yet. So you got all this time off here since last week, and you got a bunch of questions that are going to start to be answered tomorrow night against Milwaukee. Now, you're not going to have Giannis. And this next stretch of games for the Heat is super important. So tomorrow's an ESPN game. The Heat are at Milwaukee. I don't know why I thought the game was here. The Heat are at Milwaukee. So they start a nice little road trip here, all right? At Milwaukee, then back-to-back Saturday night at Charlotte. And then on Monday, they're at Philadelphia. And then they come back home against Philadelphia. So look at this stretch here, actually, for the Heat. You start out here with a 3-game trip. Tomorrow night is super important because you're at the Bucks, likely no Giannis, and then at Charlotte. So you get lucky that the second night of a back-to-back is against a shit team. Then they're at Philadelphia. That's going to be a very tough game. So if you go 2-1 here, you got to get the game tomorrow night. You got to take advantage of no Giannis. It's still tough without him, but you got to take advantage of no Giannis. And then look at this gauntlet here. It's a 6-game homestand, difficult homestand. Look at this. Philadelphia, New York, Atlanta, Cleveland. And you heard me right. I'm in favor of doing the games like that where a team comes into town and you bang out both games against them. They don't have to make the trip again. Like these players, the NBA player loves to complain and loves to not play. And, you dehumanize the players by making them play so much. It's inhumane, the conditions they have to go through. Well, one way that you could fix the inhumane conditions of traveling first class and staying in 5-star hotels in different cities all the time is like the Atlanta Hawks. They're only making one trip here to Miami. They're playing both games on a Saturday and a Monday. Cleveland, they're only making one trip down here to Miami. They're playing both games on a Wednesday and a Friday. I'm very in favor of that. So I would also say this has to be it's got to be the first time in franchise history, right, where 4 games in a row on this homestand are against 2 teams. Atlanta, Cleveland. I'm in favor of it, but that's weird. It's got to be the first time that's ever happened. So not an easy road trip here right out the gate. The Heat play the most close games in the league, so they'll be ready for it. And then a 6-game homestand against 4 teams that are legit playoff teams. 2 against Cleveland, New York, Philadelphia, and then another team that's in all kinds of turmoil, but is in the play-in picture, and that being the Atlanta Hawks, who, of course, fired Nate McMillan a couple days ago. So, really important stretch here coming up for the Heat. So, hey, Kevin Love, as we get set for his debut coming up tomorrow night, Heat fans going to love everything that Kevin Love had to say upon arriving at the facility a couple days ago.
I know a lot of these guys from being in the league for 15 years, having played against them, other guys I admire, what they're about, as well as this team and this culture here. It's a special organization. Not many teams, if any, are capable of what they're doing year in and year out. And I've seen it, man. Since I started in this league and got drafted in 2008 until now. They just have a tradition of excellence. They want to win and win now. And that's something I want to be a part of. Just compete, go out there and just get into work. And, just help further this thing. They've already established themselves for so long, this year included. So, again, just taking that to the next step, seeing where I can impact the game, impact the guys, and just make the game as easy as I can for them.
True or false? You already like Kevin Love more than Kyle Lowry. It's got to be true, right? That's true. Kevin Love already sounds more like a Heat guy, like a Heat culture guy, than Lowry ever has in his year plus here. I mean, have you ever heard Kyle Lowry talk that way about being part of this team? Kevin Love is already more of a Heat player, a Heat guy than Kyle Lowry. I'm all in on Kevin Love. I think it's gonna be great. I told my younger son, "Hey, the Heat signed Kevin Love." Really? Kevin Love already sounds like a guy who's bought in. Kyle Lowry, he never does media. You never hear him on the radio shows. When I was on the Heat radio broadcast, it was only for 1 year. I mean, I did it for 13 years, but it was only for 1 year of Lowry. He was never on the postgame show. Never. Now, Jimmy rarely does it also. Bam all the time. Lowry was never on the postgame show. Lowry never did any radio interviews. On ZASLOW Show when I was on, I guess it was 560 because Lowry wasn't here when I was still on 790. Never did any radio. Do you ever see Lowry in the community? He doesn't do anything above what he has to. And I know for a fact he's the worst when it comes to media after the game. Takes forever to get out there. Everyone's got to wait around to talk to Kyle Lowry. Look, Kyle, you may have been a big deal in Toronto. Nobody cares here. No one cares. Kevin Love, you can't tell me Heat fan hears that and doesn't already like Kevin Love more than Kyle Lowry. He hasn't even put on a Heat jersey yet. So that's tomorrow night. You'll get to see that. I want to get to the Panthers. We'll do that in a moment here. The Panthers are back in action tomorrow. They're taking on Buffalo. First, though, I got to tell you guys, everybody knows my beer of choice. The official beer of ZASLOW Show 2.0 is Johnny Cuba. We got some fun things coming up for Johnny Cuba. I'm going to be able to tell you that Johnny Cuba hot sauce, I got it downstairs. I'm going to be able to tell you real soon where you're going to be able to get that. You're going to be able to pick up a bottle of your own. I had some of the Johnny Cuba hot sauce. Yeah, I put it on anything. I had chicken yesterday. I douse that Johnny Cuba hot sauce all over it. I don't care. I love it. But Johnny Cuba's the beer of choice on ZASLOW Show 2.0. That's right. European roots of the Caribbean soul, a refreshing German lager in a can. Pick up a 6-pack of Johnny Cuba at your local Presidente or Sedano's or Winn-Dixie, Fresco, Emas. And I love when you guys pick up Johnny Cuba for the first time. You never had it before. You heard me talk about it here on ZASLOW Show 2.0. And then you send me a video of drinking your first Johnny Cuba. I'll post it on my Instagram. I love when you guys do that. All you guys tell me the same thing. ZASLOW, I never knew about Johnny Cuba. It's delicious. I love it now. I love when you guys send me those videos. So remember, always drink responsibly. And don't forget Johnny Cuba's mantra, stay tranquilo. So we got the NBA back tonight. The Heat tomorrow night. Kevin Love, already a better Heat player than Kyle Lowry. Everybody knows that. Now, as far as some NBA stuff we got to get through before we move on, I want to get to the Panthers. It's a slow week. There's nothing going on. So what winds up happening when you have a shitburger of an all-star game like we had? Everyone's all over it. Everyone's talking about it for days. That talk, like the TNT crew tonight will talk about it. Barkley will talk about it. I'm sure they did on Sunday too, but Barkley will give his thoughts. Kenny, Shaq, and then we'll wind up moving on. Tomorrow, it's not going to be a thing anymore. But for now, it's still a thing. And I got a couple more things for you here. So the first thing I got to tell you, everyone's talking about how do you fix the game? How do you fix the game? It's actually really easy. How about the players just give a shit? That's how you fix it. It's the easiest fix. You know, you want to talk about how do you fix baseball or how do you fix safety in NFL? These are tough questions. How do you fix the All-Star game? Try. Players should care. It's the easiest fix. But I will say, Odyssey Sports' Trista Crick, she's our friend. She was on with us a couple weeks ago. You can go back into the ZASLOW Show 2.0 archives, and you could catch Trista Crick on ZASLOW Show 2.0. And she actually has the answer. She tweeted out a couple days ago the way to fix the All-Star game, and she's 100% right. USA versus the world. She's right. That's how you do it. That's how you fix the All-Star game. USA versus the world. Then you're talking about pride. Then you're talking about not necessarily, well, I guess wanting to play for your country, but those are some stakes. East versus West, players don't care anymore. Team LeBron versus Team Giannis, nobody cares. USA versus the world, because the world team would wind up trying. And that's going to force the USA team, bunch of spoiled babies, that's going to force the USA team to try as well. Trista's right. That's how you fix it. USA versus the world. Book it. Book it. That's how you do it. But I want to play you a little bit here at Jalen Rose yesterday. Jalen Rose, NBA on ESPN, NBA Today, whatever they call that show now. So they're asking Jalen Rose, who's one of the former players on the panel there, how do you fix, who's to blame for load management? That was actually the question. Who's to blame for load management? Give Jalen Rose a listen here.
Well, I have three things that I want to say on this topic. First, I'm going to pass out the blame pie. Ooh. The first thing I want to blame is analytics. When y'all show players, y'all was going to judge us by the numbers. We're only going to play when we 100%. That's one. Two, when fans and media started ring counting. Oh, we're going to just minimize the regular season and just talk about what happens in the playoffs, and you're only going to count my rings? Well, then I'm only going to be ready for when it matters most. And then the third blame is actually on the players. Take pride in showing up and balling every night. And while you can blame the team in a lot of ways, I saw that 19 players have played in every game. That means those 19 guys aren't going by, quote unquote, what the training staff says. So that means if you wanted to show up every game, you actually could. Mm-hmm. And then one other thing, please. Okay, if you're going to sit out games, here's a rule that Adam Silver can just own right now. You should only be able to do it at home games. You get 41 home games. These dudes sitting out on the road. You should only be able to sit out home games if you're going to do it.
All right, so I got a few thoughts, reaction to that. First up, blaming analytics. I don't think he really means analytics. I think he just means stats, blaming stats. And I think there's some truth to that because this is a big problem of mine. And I used Jimmy Butler as an example a few weeks ago where he sits out the entire game where, he couldn't have played 15 minutes in the second half. Like it was a game the Heat lost to the Pistons, right? The Heat were up by 4 at halftime of that game. They ended up losing the game, I believe. And it's like, hold on, the Heat are up by 4 at halftime. Jimmy couldn't again given him 15 minutes in the second half. Maybe the Heat I would hope, maybe the Heat winds up winning that game. And here's why players don't do that. Here's why, the second night of a back-to-back, so-and-so can't play. Why can't they just play half the game? Why can't they sit out the first half? And instead of spreading out their minutes, we want to keep them to a minutes limit of 15 minutes the second night of a back-to-back. Sit out the entire first half. Play a regular 15 minutes in the second half. Why can't players do that? I'll tell you exactly why they can't do that. The answer is they can do that. But like Jalen Rose is saying there, and again, he means stats, not analytics. The players don't want their averages to go down. It's the same reason these players, they never shoot the three-pointer. They never chuck up the half-court shot until after the buzzer. It'll ruin their percentage. I do think, by the way, I think the NBA should make a rule where if you throw up a shot from half-court or beyond at the buzzer and it doesn't go in, it doesn't count as a field goal attempt. If it goes in, it counts. It doesn't count as a field goal attempt if it doesn't go in. Kind of like a sacrifice in baseball. If you sacrifice, it doesn't count as an at-bat. It doesn't go against your batting average. I think the NBA should do that. This way, you got guys who will chuck up the shot at the end of the quarter, try and get those points. They're all concerned about their stats. That's why you don't have guys play just the second half of a game, second night of a back-to-back. They're too concerned about their stats. So he's right in that regard. As far as the ring counting stuff, Nick Wright from FS1 made this point as well a couple days ago on his show First Things First. Even though the show's on in the afternoon, it's First Things First. He made this point as well. I don't necessarily agree with it, that the media and the fans are so obsessed with the ring counting that now that's, okay, the players are listening and they only want to try in the postseason. They want to make sure they're healthy for the postseason. The players talk out of both sides of their mouth in that regard. We don't care what the media says. We don't listen to the media. But over here, the media only cares and talks about one thing, playoffs, rings, so we're listening to them and we're only going to play in the playoffs. They talk out of both sides of their mouth in that regard. Which one is it? So I don't know if I 100% agree with that. The final part, everyone agrees with. It's on the players. Have a little bit of pride. Have some pride. Anthony Edwards talked about the one thing about today's NBA that bothers him. And good for a 20, 21-year-old kid. He should be the face of the league. He said the bad slur about homosexuals, but he should be the face of the league with this kind of thinking, all right? The one thing in the NBA that bothers him is the players who don't play. If you can play. You're 70%, 80% play. All these guys love Kobe Bryant. Most of them are an embarrassment to Kobe Bryant. And Kyrie Irving loves Kobe Bryant. Kobe would hate Kyrie Irving. He would hate him. The worst kind of player. Anthony Edwards is 100% right. Just get out there and play, man. A 21-year-old kid talking like that. I'm a fan of Anthony Edwards. I love that. So, a great point there by Jalen as well. There are only 19 players. Apparently, if I heard it correctly, there's 19 players who have played in all of the games so far this season. Well, those guys must not be listening to the trainers. Because if the trainers are telling them, you should be sitting here, you should be resting here, you need to do this to maintain 100%, be healthy by the end of the season. Those 19 guys who have played in every game, they're clearly not listening to the trainers. And they're fine. And if they're fine and they're not listening to the trainers, then it's bullshit. Then other guys can play without having to sit out, despite what these trainers are saying. I thought that was an excellent point. That part I thought was an excellent point by Jalen Rose. He's right. So, look, this is going to stop being a conversation. It'll stop being a conversation about the All-Star starting tomorrow once the games get going again tonight. But it's a huge deal, this load management. And by the way, the All-Star game numbers, the television numbers, And I know the numbers were split between TNT and TBS. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but the numbers were way down on the All-Star this year. And when you got a TV rights deal coming up, that's not a good thing. I mean, the NBA's got a problem. The numbers for the All-Star were way down. The bullshit NFL Pro Bowl had better numbers. And I know the NFL's the NFL, but the NBA numbers were way down. It's a problem. It's a problem. There's a gross entitlement. And it's gross. There's a gross level of entitlement that these players have. And fans don't want it. They don't like it. They don't want to see it. And I do believe when the next CBA comes up, the owners are going to hold their feet to the fire. You think the owners are sitting there saying, we're going to pay you $40, $50 million a year, and you're just not going to play? And you're just not going to try? You think that's how I made my money? You think I'm going to pay for that? I'm telling you, we're headed toward a reckoning. We're headed toward a major problem. I really believe so. So the NBA's back tonight. I'm happy about that for sure. Now, something I'm not happy about. If you're not feeling well, I want to make sure all of ZASLOW Show 2.0 listeners are always feeling good. I know what it's like to be sick. A couple months ago, I had a fever, 103. Sucks. Luckily for me, Doctors on Call 365. Big sponsor on ZASLOW Show 2.0. Doctors on Call 365, South Florida's urgent care that comes to you. 786-577-9302. I get Doctors on Call 365 on the phone immediately. I had Dr. Alon at my doorstep, 9 p.m. Had him on my doorstep that night to take care of me. That's right. Doctors on Call 365.com, 786-577-9302. I needed a flu test. I was negative. Or you need a COVID test. You need a strep test. Maybe you need blood drawn, you need vitamin therapy, you need IV fluids, a prescription filled or refilled. Get it done right away. You don't have to make an appointment at your doctor. They can only see you in 5 days. You go sit in the emergency room, you wait for hours. Your copay is going to be more than what you're paying out of pocket for Doctors on Call 365. Serving all of Broward County, Miami-Dade County, Southern Palm Beach as well. Get yourself right if you're not feeling well. You don't need to suffer. Doctors on Call 365.com. You'll get someone on the phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Your home, your office, wherever you're at, the doc will come out and see you that day. 786-577-9302. So here's where we are with the Panthers. Panthers are off until tomorrow night, okay? They got the win earlier in the week, Monday afternoon. The ZASLOW men were all there. That was a lot of fun. So the Panthers are going to get a big jolt tomorrow night. Anthony Duclair, 30-goal scorer last year, is likely going to make his season debut after summer Achilles surgery. And here's where the Panthers stand right now. So, Panthers are in the number 2 wild cards playing. They're in the number 2 wild card spot right now. They're 3 points back of number 1 New York Islanders. The Panthers are 1 point ahead of Pittsburgh, who have 4 games in hand. That's a big deal. And they're 2 points ahead of Detroit, who also has 4 games in hand. So, the Panthers are sitting in that number 2 spot right now, but it's a little fugazi because you'd actually rather be in Pittsburgh and Detroit's position right now where they're 1 back of the Panthers, but they have 4 games in hand. So 8 potential points are available to them that are not available anymore to the Panthers. But nonetheless, every one of these games is a playoff kind of game, including tomorrow against Buffalo, who is 4 points back of the Panthers with 5 games in hand. Man, the Panthers play more games than everyone. But they're going to get Anthony Duclair back tomorrow night. That's huge. I saw George Richards, our pal, FloridaHockeyNow.com, and said that it looks like Duclair is skating around with the third line. That makes sense. That's what I've been asking. You know, where do we slide Duclair in? Is it the third line? You got that top line, of course, which has not been productive lately. They're going to have to get going. Barkov, let's go. Let's go. But that top line, you got Barkov, Lundell, Reinhart. The second line, they're not touching that line. Verhaeghe, Bennett, Kachuk. So the third line, I suppose you're talking Loisterinen, Duclair sliding in there as well. And who else is on that line? Is it Cousins maybe? Could be Cousins. But it looks like he'll slide in on that third line with Loisterinen. That's a major boost getting Duclair. You know, you got the trade deadline, whenever it is, coming up in a few weeks, but the Panthers just out of nowhere are adding a 30-goal scorer. Like, imagine if you made a trade today for a 30-goal scorer and you gave up no one. So that's what the Panthers are doing right now. That's a major boost. You may have also seen Spencer Knight has been sent down to the AHL. He sucks. He's had a shit year and he sucks. So I can't believe I'm saying it, but it's got to be Bobrovsky every time now. We're the stretch run of the season. It's got to make it happen. So, and I understand Spencer Knight. Look, they're clearly going with Bobrovsky. So rather than have Spencer Knight sit on the bench as a backup every night, they want him getting action. So they're sending him to the AHL, and he's going to get time in between the pipes there on a nightly basis. That's fine and well. But the whole reason that they're doing that is because they don't plan on playing him anymore. If they were still going to essentially split time between Bobrovsky and Knight, they wouldn't be sending him down to the AHL. They're sending him there because they want him to get action rather than sit around and do nothing. So Alex Lyon is being called up. He'll sit around and do nothing and back up Bobrovsky. But Spencer Knight going back to the AHL now, not a surprise. He's not been good. I'm sorry. And I know there was a little bit of pushback when I said recently that he sucks, but I'm not wrong. There's a reason why he's being sent to the AHL. At this point in Spencer Knight's early career, and he's got a new contract, which I believe kicks in next year. I mean, the Panthers can be paying $14 million to goaltending when we don't really like either one of them. And that's a disaster. It really is. But Spencer Knight, he has stunk. And it's no surprise that he's being sent down to the AHL. So that's where we are with the Panthers. Panthers back tomorrow night. All these games are playoff type games. Love it. Love it. As far as the NFL goes, there's a couple things we're keeping an eye on for. You know, it's franchise tag season, that whole deal. Nothing really interesting with the Dolphins. Although I do have a Dolphins nugget for you in big deal, not a big deal. But, I mean, it's crazy how now the big news, the big free agency news, the transactions in the offseason for the NFL, it's the quarterbacks. And we're talking good quarterbacks. It was never like that before. And now, you know, Derek Carr, he met with the Jets. His brother David, who's on NFL Network, said it's going to be a long process. I don't know if that's a smart... Well, it may be a smart move for Carr. But for the Jets... And look, it's always F the Jets. But for the Jets, I know they met with Carr, and they're going to want to meet with Rodgers, who's like living in the darkness now. I'm not about that bullshit if I'm the Jets. I'm not interested in Rodgers. Because here's the thing. If you were to go with Rodgers... First of all, if you wait to figure out what's going on with Rodgers and his living in darkness retreats, his douchebag retreats, you don't know what the hell is on Aaron Rodgers' mind. You don't know how long this nonsense is going to take. And Derek Carr may go somewhere else. And then you're left with Zach Wilson, who we know is incompetent. And then if you do sign Rodgers, in a year from now, he's done. He may want to leave. He may be done. You don't know on a year-to-year basis what's going on with Rodgers. And by the way, Carr is still in his prime. You're getting Rodgers at the end of his career. I would rather Derek Carr, the next 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it is of Derek Carr, than whatever Aaron Rodgers could possibly give you right now. Could just be a year of not good quarterback play. And did they kind of go through that with Favre? Like, Favre wasn't that good with the Jets. He was good when he then went to the Vikings. He was not good with the Jets. Remember the Dolphins beat them the last game of the season to win the division. Dolphins got in the playoffs. They kind of went through it with Favre. But if I'm the Jets, I would go with Derek Carr right now. I would not wait for Aaron Rodgers. And then you got the Lamar Jackson situation. I don't know how that one's going to go, man. I don't believe that he's going to be back with Baltimore. I really don't. It doesn't seem like Lamar Jackson's interested in budging, and the Ravens are not going to pay him that Deshaun Watson contract that he's holding them to, nor should they, because that's a phony baloney contract. That's a fake contract. That's a total outlier. So I don't know what's going to happen with Jackson, but for the Jets should go with Carr, man. I would not be sitting around waiting anymore. So anyway, and as far as the Dolphins go, I mean, there's nothing really there. You know, we're marching toward the draft, I guess, in a couple of months. We'll see what happens when free agency officially begins. Gesicki, that whole type of situation. I know there's been other rumors out there as players who could come to the Dolphins. Miles Sanders has been mentioned. We talked about that yesterday on Big Deal or Not a Big Deal. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Miles Sanders. Look, it's not my money. You don't normally want to spend money on a running back, but Miles Sanders is certainly not. He's certainly right smack in the middle of the prime of his career, and it's not my money, and Stephen Ross is not getting any younger, and you can't take the money with you. So I'm okay with that if that's the direction they want to go. That would be kind of fun. Let's just load up on weapons, even though it's really the other side of the ball, the defense that we're most concerned with. But maybe you feel like the Dolphins, that they figured that part out, or at least the main part out, because they brought in Vic Fangio, and now you got a guy who can coach him up there, and now McDaniel can just focus on the defensive side. I don't know. Maybe that's how you feel. Anyway, finally, before we get to Big Deal or Not a Big Deal today, I want to tell you guys, if you're looking, look, the weather's fantastic these days. If you're trying to go for a nice walk on the beach, you want to go get some drinks, get some nice food, you're looking for where to go. Well, what if I told you you can get all of that plus live music on a nightly basis in one place? That's right. World's greatest upscale dive bar, Briny Irish Pub, Pompano Beach. That's right. Live music every single night. The Briny Hour starting at 4 p.m. That's happy hour. That's Monday through Friday. You got great food, barbecue ribs. You got fish and chips. You got mahi tacos. You got shepherd's pie. Oh my God, I love the shepherd's pie. I love Irish food, man. World's greatest upscale dive bar, Briny Irish Pub, Pompano Beach. Make sure when you park, it's Atlantic Boulevard all the way to the Atlantic. Park behind the Briny because they'll validate your tag for you. You will not have to pay for parking. Live music every day. Happy hour, Briny hour starting at 4 p.m. Great food, craft beers on tap. World's greatest upscale dive bar, Briny Irish Pub, Pompano Beach. Let's get to Big Deal or Not a Big Deal. Yes. All right. Everybody take it easy. Everybody calm down. Big deal or not a big deal? All right. Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee with a really interesting post yesterday on Instagram. It was a picture of him. He's on vacation with his wife. His wife is pregnant. Good for him. I'm a fan of Pat McAfee. I love that show. I watch it on a daily basis. And he's out there. He's on the beach. He's looking into the water, looking into the sunset, and he's pondering. He's got a lot of thoughts. And he's pondering his future for his show and his future with FanDuel, who's a big sponsor. And his future, is it FanDuel? Yeah, FanDuel. And his future with FanDuel as a sponsor. And his future with WWE. They're about to be sold. Do I want to work for whoever they're going to be sold to? And his future with Game Day. I got a kid coming. Do I still want to do all that? A lot of pondering going on out there from Pat McAfee about his future. This is a big deal. I love everything McAfee does, especially WWE. I don't want to see less of him. I don't really see more of him. But I think we got just the right amount of McAfee. I don't want to see less of him. He's doing a terrific job. He's a lot of fun. I really dig what McAfee's got going on. So I'm going big deal there. Big deal or not a big deal? That piece of shit Miles Bridges. Not to be confused with Mikal Bridges, who the Suns trade to the Nets in the Durant trade. He's a good dude. But this piece of shit Miles Bridges, remember he pleaded no contest to beating up his girlfriend in front of their children, all right? This is the worst kind of guy. And he said recently that he expects to be back in the league in March. Look, the league is yet to suspend him. He's not on a team right now. And whatever team decides to sign this guy, shame on you. Shame on you. We already know it's major shame on guys like LeBron James, who was seen yucking it up with Miles Bridges, like a month and a half ago when he was attending a Laker game. And of course, LeBron will yuck it up with him because it doesn't matter if you beat up women as long as you're represented by clutch. Then we love you. Who cares if you beat up women? You're a clutch guy. So this, to me, is a big deal that someone's going to bring this guy back into the league. Miles Bridges, get the hell out of here. Big deal or not a big deal? How about Caleb Williams? USC quarterback, Heisman Trophy winner. Now, he's not eligible for the draft till a year from now. But how about when he was asked yesterday about which team he would like to go to, where could he see himself playing in the NFL? He said his number one choice, Miami Dolphins. Yeah, that's right, the Dolphins, number one choice. Now, I don't know if he's projected to be a first round. I think he is. Again, we're still a year away. I think the Dolphins have their first round pick next year. They don't have a first round pick this year. I think they do next year. Who knows what's going to happen with Tua? Even if Tua has another good year, you may be interested in bringing in a kid like Caleb Williams because we never know with the injury situation with Tua. So I'm going big deal. How about that? High-profile quarterback would love to come to the Dolphins. And finally, I got one more for you. So Yesterday, Russell Westbrook. He was with the Clippers. He was at practice with them, which is funny because they use the same, I don't know if they have the same practice facility. I don't know if the practice facility is in the arena, but he's still in the same arena he was in before. Clippers and Lakers share Crypto.com arena, formerly Staples Center. Well, anyway, Anthony Davis was asked yesterday what he thinks about Russell Westbrook going to the Clippers, and you tell me if this is an endorsement of Russell Westbrook or not.
Culture for that team?
Or just what do you think he'll bring to that team?
I'm not part of that team. I have no idea what their locker room is like, what their chemistry is like.
On the court.
Honestly, I don't really watch the Clippers like that. I don't really watch. I got 3 kids. I don't know. I mean, I know they got rid of John and Reggie, so it's another point guard for him. I'm not sure how T-Lou and the coaching staff will utilize him, but I'm pretty sure he's happy to stay in LA. Not sure.
BD also.
You know, usually you would have a guy talking about a former teammate. It's like, I wish him well. I think he's going to be a good addition for them. Plays hard or whatever. He didn't give you any of that. I think Russell Westbrook gets a lot of undue criticism. He's a very easy target, but they hated him. I mean, Anthony Davis been in the league a long time to understand the way this thing goes. He could have easily just given, I wish him well, plays hard, I think he'll be a good addition for them. He didn't give you any of that. Lakers hated Russell Westbrook. That's a big deal. And that right there is another addition. A big deal or not a big deal. Yes. All right. Great job by everybody involved in putting together today's show. Appreciate you. Make sure you like, you rate, you comment, you do all that good stuff. What do we got today? There's no wrestling tonight. No wrestling tonight, Thursday night. No Heat basketball, no Panthers, but the NBA is back. You got some good games there at TNT, like I told you. Philadelphia, Memphis, the first game at 7:30. Lakers, Warriors at 10 o'clock. I'll probably want to catch a bunch of Lakers, Warriors because I assume LeBron will play. I mean, these are 23 most important games, and you'll get really your first look at that new look Laker team. So I'll probably want to catch some of that. All right, and we'll have a big sports day tomorrow because we got the Heat back in action post All-Star, Panthers playoff caliber games, and I think we're probably going to begin to bring back big movie or not a big movie. Tomorrow could be the return. We'll talk to you guys on ZASLOW Show 2.0 tomorrow. Know what that means.